All right, today is 7/12/2025, and I'm going to do a review of the crude oil futures market for the 11th, 7/11/2025. What we're looking at here on the screen is the um, the shaded area here is the overnight session, and you can see we open and we kind of balance, rotate back and forth. Um, we opened within prior value area from the previous session. Um, so overnight session is rotational. The important thing to note here is that price makes a series of higher highs as we go along. So, or sorry, higher lows. So we've got the initial low here. We make a higher low here, and then a higher low at this point here before we dip down and test the lows of the prior session here. Um, and this would be considered a valid responsive buying tail. Price tests the low from the prior session and finds demand. And as you can see, price then takes off and pretty much trends upwards for the entire session, pretty much for the entire day from this point right here. Now, the interesting thing is that from the overnight session, delta is essentially drifting lower. It's pretty anemic, but it's just kind of drifting lower until we hit that lower low here and retest the prior low from the session, and that's where we find demand. The minute we do find that demand, of course, the buying comes in and delta reverses upwards, and we get above delta neutral, and we start to get more delta positive as the session goes on. Another event that occurs during this time before the market takes off is there's a ask volume makes a lower low here on the zigzag lower low, and it climbs up, makes a higher high, and then as price still begins to increase, average ask volume is decreasing. It makes this new lower low down here, and what's important is that this coincides with the lower low of the price and the tail, and finding excess demand here before it takes off. The minute that the average ask volume crosses here and makes a new higher high, it's not labeled because it doesn't stick, but the new one is up here. But this would effectively be at that time, it would be a new higher high because it's greater than this here, the previous 503.55. The minute it breaks that is pretty much confirmation that right there we get above the prior higher low here. It retests it, and then it takes off. So these are some important conditions that lead up to a trend day during the RTH session. We effectively find that demand. We get strong buying coming in, accompanied with price acceptance, crossing DVA. We get up above +2 standard deviations from VWAP. And at this point, this is what's super important. We make our first imbalance pullback. We hold at DVA high, and that's where the open is for the RTH session, and then price takes off and continues upwards. So at this point, if we're looking at this prior to the RTH open, we could conclude that there is some excess demand was found, and that strong buying is most likely going to continue into the session, because when we pull back, we hold at that DVA high, or the VWAP +1. We hold there, which is a sign of strength for buyers, and then it continues on, and we go all the way up from the low of 67 just prior to the open, 67.16, to a high of 68.58. This is what's important for looking for the setup into the RTH open, if this is where we're going to initiate our trade. And that's it.